Okay, so I think we're going to begin. Welcome again to the Live Well and Stay Healthy Wellness webinar series brought to you by the Family and Community Health Sciences Department of Rutgers Cooperative Extension. My name is Rachel Tansey, and I am the Senior Extension Associate with FCHS, working out of our Monmouth County office, and I will serve as your host today. I'm so excited to be hosting this presentation on berries and you, perfect together. Certainly a topic we can all benefit from, being berry season and all right now. Before we move on, I just wanted to go over a few webinar logistics. First of all, this webinar is being recorded, and as participants, we ask that you all stay muted and your videos are turned off. Please post any questions you may have for the presenter in the chat box, and when we have time at the end, we will actually field those questions. And if you have any technical questions, you can put them in the Q&A box. Either way, I will check, and whichever box they get put in is fine. So I also wanted to quickly review the cooperative extension structure for those of you who aren't familiar with it. Rutgers Cooperative Extension is a partnership between the Board of County Commissioners, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, and the USDA's National Institute for Food and Agriculture. And we have faculty or staff in 20 of our 21 New Jersey counties. We are comprised of 3 departments, including Agriculture and Natural Resources, the 4-H Youth Development Department, and Family and Community Health Sciences, or FCHS. FCHS provides outreach in New Jersey and beyond on topics related to nutrition and chronic disease prevention, food safety, and overall wellness. We hope you visit our website for nutrition and wellness related resources and follow us on social media. So it gives me great pleasure today to introduce to you Joanne Kinsey. Joanne is a family and community health educator and associate professor at Rutgers Cooperative Extension in both Atlantic and Ocean counties. We are funded through the New Jersey Agriculture Experiment Station. Ms. Kinsey has a master's degree from Drexel University, and she is certified as a workforce wellness specialist and also a registered yoga teacher. Joanne's specialization areas are nutrition, worksite wellness, healthy lifestyles, human development, laughter therapy, and technology and education. She has also developed our Healthy on the Job Workforce Wellness Program, which provides evidence-based information to employers and their employees. Joanne also enjoys making simple online recipe videos for our consumers. Today, we will discuss how berries can benefit your health by promoting the prevention of certain chronic diseases, such as heart disease and diabetes, as well as promoting gut health and healthy aging. So without further ado, I will hand things off to you, Joanne.
Thank you, Rachel. It's always great to work together. This program that we're doing today was created by our colleague, Sherry Siriano. She is up in Warren County. So when you see all these beautiful pictures and how well it's put together, keep in mind that Sherry created it and we just have the opportunities to share it. So today we're going to talk about berries. We're going to talk about New Jersey berries and some others as well, and the nutritional benefits of berries. So there's lots to cover here. We're going to look at what the current research is saying about the health benefits, which is something we all care about and are interested in, and how to incorporate berries into a healthy diet, especially a diet that USDA tells us should be more plant-based to keep us healthier, keep our hearts healthy and strong. So let's get moving. This program has lots to cover. So in New Jersey, you're very familiar with the native New Jersey berries that we have. And depending on where you're living in the state, you may see lots of these berries, as we see blueberries in particular here in the Atlantic County area, and cranberries in particular in the Ocean County area. Strawberries we see in lots of our areas. So we know that we have the most wonderful berries growing right here, just full of nice nutritional benefits for all of us. So I just love the pictures in this program. I'm really going to enjoy it. So what about blueberries? Aside from being beautiful, you'll see this person here, Elizabeth Coleman White, was the first person to really be able to cultivate blueberries in New Jersey. And I believe the year was 1825. Rachel maybe can correct me if I'm wrong there. And what has turned into now, looking fast forward to where we are today, and in recent years, that we grow a considerable amount of of various berries, in particular blueberries in one case, right here in New Jersey. There are lots of blueberry growers. They, in terms of Rutgers, our influence on them, and I'm talking about our agriculture department, keeping an eye on those blueberries in terms of pest management, production control, and that kind of thing. It's very important, and it's a big part of not only our agriculture, but our culture here in New Jersey. So many people ask, is New Jersey the largest producer of blueberries? And unfortunately, we are not. But the US is the world's largest producer of blueberries. Maine is actually the top producer of blueberries, and they would be wild blueberries. And if you've ever had wild blueberries from Maine, you notice that they're a lot smaller than the ones that we have here in New Jersey. Our berries here, we sort of tease, are like 2-bite blueberries sometimes, where your wild blueberries would be much smaller and a little bit sweeter. We mostly see them frozen in our area. But there are at least 14 states that produce blueberries in our nation, and New Jersey cultivated the high bush blueberry since the early part of the 20th century. So the blueberries that you see, if you're driving down some of the highways here, look like kind of tall bushes, and they are. That's called the high bush blueberry. They are so delicious and are a wonderful part of our eating plan, because if you've been with us before, you know we talk about sometimes the color of food and how naturally intense, colorful food tends to have lots of nutrients in it, aside from being beautiful. Blueberries, though, are really very versatile. So Michigan produces the most cultivated blueberries, and they are delicious as well, and their season is just slightly a little bit different from ours in New Jersey. And as I said before, Maine produces the wild blueberries, and here we are, it's July and it's National Blueberry Month. So if you are in the New Jersey area right now, you know that this is the time to get blueberries. And aren't we just so lucky? So we also, in New Jersey, produce lots of cranberries. And the production, the harvesting, especially the harvesting of cranberries, is really just so fascinating. Just a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to drive through some of the areas where the cranberries are growing, and they look like fields of pretty much anything that was growing. I think they may have been in the flower stage when I saw them, because it seemed like there was a little bit of a light color to the fields. And you'll notice that the cranberries sort of sit down a little bit, maybe a few feet off the road, and what will become a bog when they are harvested. And we can look at that a little bit more closely in just a minute. So cranberries have been cultivated here in New Jersey for a long time. And we are the 4th largest producer of cranberries in the nation. And most of the cranberries that are produced here in New Jersey are processed by the Ocean Spray and other companies that take those cranberries and turn them into a variety of cranberry products. And I'm sure when you're in the supermarket, you see cranberry juice or a variety of cranberry juices that you can purchase. Your cranberry, jelly cranberry, whole jelly cranberry sauce, fresh berries in the fall. You'll see them, quite a bit once we get to the fall. So enjoy these beautiful berries, because they are really loaded with lots of good nutrients. And October is cranberry month. And you'll know that because there are cranberry harvest opportunities. There are gatherings and opportunities to taste cranberries and festivals and that type of thing. So let's just talk about this picture for a minute. You've probably seen this, something like this before, about the way cranberries are harvested. As I said, they're growing in a field. that is sort of recessed down a little bit lower than the normal level of the land. And that's because when the cranberries are ready, when they're at their peak, those bogs, are called bogs, are flooded with water that comes in from streams and reservoirs and so on. And a machine comes along and sort of almost like tickles the cranberries to rise and float, because they do have air inside the cranberries naturally, and the cranberries will float. So this is the most efficient way to harvest cranberries. It's kind of fun to see. If you've ever seen it, it's something that you pretty much have to stop by the side of the road and just look at it for even just a couple minutes, because it's such a fascinating process. They use these large nets to sort of pull in all the cranberries together, and then they get taken away and processed. So it's kind of a beautiful picture. I hope you have the opportunity sometime to see cranberries being harvested. I think it's fascinating. And you don't have to go very far to see that. So let's talk about the cranberry Blueberry and Cranberry Research Center that Rutgers has here in New Jersey. It's located in Burlington County. The center was started in 1918, so it has a long history of, it has basically three goals: to ensure the continued production and availability of high quality blueberries and cranberries through basic and applied research, to maintain research programs to study the health benefits of the phytochemicals in cranberries and blueberries, and to investigate causes and controls of diseases that affect blueberries and cranberries. So the research center is really responsible for making sure that our crops here are the best they can possibly be, as nutritious as they can be, as safe, and the productivity is as high as possible. So let's talk about another favorite, and that would be strawberries. They're beautiful, aren't they? New Jersey is a leading producer of all of these berries, but as you know, there are lots of different strawberries grown in various places around the country and around our state. So they don't seem to show up so much just in one or two counties or a specific region in our area. They can be grown pretty much anywhere. So the strawberry is in the Rosacea family, and it is native to our country, but we also can find strawberries grown in Europe and Asia. And the really interesting thing about strawberries is they grow in cold climates, or climates like ours, where we tend to have a very cold season. The berry plants go dormant at that time, and then they come back hardier than ever after the winter. And this is one of the first really beautiful fruits we see in our year, right? In May, we start to see these gorgeous strawberries being harvested and available at all of our local farm markets. So a couple quick facts here, that strawberries are the #1 red fruit, when we're talking about the color fruit, and among the 5 most consumed fruits in our nation. When California grows the most amount of strawberries, and strawberries grown in the United States are exported to other countries as well. And May is National Strawberry Month. Oops, let me go back for just a second here and just tell you a little bit about when you're purchasing strawberries. What you want to look for are ones that are glossy red in color, that look pretty much like the picture you see. They are free of blemishes, soft spots, mold, and they have nice bright green leaves. This is a sign that the fruit is pretty much at its peak, which is when it's going to taste the best and it has the most nutritional value as possible. And also, when we think back to our blueberries, that we want to buy them when they're at their peak as well, and they should be firm and dry, not wet, not have any blemishes on them either. Then we know we're getting a really good quality fruit. So let's talk about something else. And these are other kinds of berries we're going to be touching on. And we do grow uh, brambles, they are called, or caneberries. They're referred to. We grow these in New Jersey. Sometimes they grow wild and then people cultivate them and grow them as well. But brambles include raspberries and blackberries, and they're sometimes called caneberries. So that may be a little bit of trivia that you didn't know before. They are very bright in color. They are nutritious. And if you've ever bought them, you notice that they have a very short lifespan. So when you purchase them, you need to store them in a cool place. The refrigerator would be good. They won't last very long, and you need to use them. But just like all the other berries that we've talked about, there have been some medicinal uses for caneberries. And there is some debate about whether they are considered a berry or not. Raspberries come in a variety of different colors. They come in deep red, purple, and also gold. Absolutely gorgeous and have that just stunning look to them. About gooseberries. Are you familiar with gooseberries? They're really unique, and they can be found in the United States and Canada, and they are also very popular in Europe as well, and used in a lot of baked products there in Europe. But they're very tasty, and if you have a chance to try some, you certainly should. And how about currants? My guess is you've heard of currants and seen them before. Not quite as widespread here in our country, but they are very much related to the gooseberry and not necessarily considered really a berry. So a little bit of a technicality there. They are dried Zante grapes, and they basically originated from Greece and are often used in baked goods. So they make wonderful jams and jellies, and are very tasty as well. We may not see them quite so much here in our country, but very good for you as well. And how about kiwi fruit? Now there's something maybe you didn't know, that kiwi fruit is a berry. And as you can see, it originated in China. It grows on a vine, which is pretty interesting when it comes to berry growth. And they grow year round in California. And when you're purchasing kiwi fruit, you want to make sure that it has just a little bit of pressure from your fingers where you'll feel it's not rock hard, that there's just a little bit of give there. And then you know your kiwi fruit is going to be at its peak and the most tasty and ripe. And they certainly are very fun and pretty to add into some of your dishes. So there are also some other berries. There's a lot of research around this, and the research is continuing because more research is needed, which is pretty much what we always say when we need to learn more about it. Because some of the berries you see here are considered like super berries, and you know that remains to be seen in terms of whether they are or not. The acai berry is grown in Central and South America and is known for its unique health properties. And the goji berry, you know, they claim a lot of medicinal properties as well. It's also known as the wolfberry. I'm not sure why. Comes from China and has similar health benefits as most other berries. So when you see that some of these berries are considered super berries, you know, just check into it a little bit more if you really care about that or are concerned about it, because lots of research is going to be continuing around those berries, all of the berries, but in particular those. So what about the health benefits of berries? You know, what's in a berry? The wonderful thing about berries is that you can eat a considerable amount of them and have consumed very low amounts of calories. So when you look at, for most berries, there's about between 45 and 60 calories in a whole cup of berries that are raw. That's quite a lot of berries to eat, right? But look at the fiber too. Again, and raspberries and blackberries would have the highest amounts of fiber. And for a half a cup, there's about 4 grams of fiber. So if you're watching the amount of fiber that you're eating, you can keep that in the back of your mind. The vitamins that come along with all of the types of berries would be your A, vitamin C, vitamin E, folic acid, plus some other minerals too, calcium, potassium, and selenium are part of berries. So we like berries because they're beautiful, because they're easy to use, and because they're very nutritious. But look at the low calories, like you really get a great bang for your buck in terms of when you're eating some berries and how good they really are for you. So if you have the opportunity to get some fresh berries or frozen berries or even dried berries, then get a hold of them and look for some really fun recipes to do. Also, the polyphenols in your berries, which are really very, along with the antioxidants, are really very beneficial to our health, because the antioxidants really help to kind of gobble up the toxins in our system. So they serve a wonderful purpose. So berries are a wonderful food to eat anytime you can eat them. They freeze particularly well. And when you can get them fresh, like at this time of year in the summer, then do so. You'll enjoy it. So the potential benefits of berries, and this is what the research looks at, is cancer prevention, reducing heart disease, the neurodegenerative diseases, those that deal with your brain, helping with diabetes and obesity, because yes, they do have sugars in them, natural sugars, but they kind of are outweighed by their nutritional benefits. So they can be very good for us. They can help our gut health. So many good reasons to eat these gorgeous berries that are just, wonderful at this time of year. Berries, there's lots and lots of research, and that's going to continue. We'll be looking at more and more research over the coming years with helping to keep cancer from growing in your body, to protect against, look at these different various things, like esophageal cancer, colon cancer, and oral cancers. And I mean, it's just amazing that we can kind of identify that there are some benefits to helping prevent various breast, lung, prostate types of cancers. But more research is needed. We'll see more about that in the future. Just keep your eyes open. And what about heart disease? The wonderful thing about berries is you get lots of nutrients. You get fiber, you get vitamins and minerals, and they taste so good in your mouth and in various foods that they're kind of a fun thing to eat. But to think about them helping to reduce the risk of heart disease, and lowering blood pressure, that type of thing, and to really kind of amp up our antioxidants and anti-inflammatory types of things that are going on in our bodies. It's another one of those foods that I often think of as like, this is a superfood. These superfoods are very good for you, aside from just being so tasty and fun to eat too. So let's talk about neurodegenerative diseases. There are some positive impacts on studies that are looking at aging and how your body is aging and how your brain health and keeping that in the absolute optimum condition you can for as long as possible. So look at berries for that. Keep an eye on what the research is going to be saying in the coming years in terms of how this can help to keep your brain healthy. We're all interested in that, aren't we? And how about, obviously, when you can eat a considerable amount of berries and feel sort of full from them and get a lot of benefits from them, then it's going to be a food that you can snack on that is a healthy food. So it's not going to be adding extra sodium and fat to your diet. because these foods essentially don't have fat in them, but they can help with your gut health. And that is so important. We spend a lot of time these days thinking and talking about gut health and how to keep our bodies in the best balance we can, and help to, when you think about anti-inflammatory, people that have issues with their joints, that it can have an impact on that. That's wonderful news, isn't it? And help to reduce ulcers. It's a superfood. So you know about My Plate, and the My Plate is based on having half of your plate be fruits and vegetables. So you can certainly see how berries can fill in there to be added as something in addition to some other things on your plate, or as part of a salad, or as part of a dessert or something like that. Berries are good. So let's see if we can get them, a little bit more into our bodies. So what about buying and storing berries? Pretty much when you buy berries, you don't want to bring them home from the supermarket or the farm market and rinse them and put them in the fridge. The water starts to help them decay too quickly. So you don't want to wash them until you're ready to use them. And you do need to wash them well. And we're talking about basically rinsing them under cool running water. You don't need to do too much more than that. All of these berries freeze well. Now, the texture of your strawberries is going to be different after they've been frozen. They're going to be a little bit more soft. But your cranberries, your blueberries are going to freeze pretty much just as they are in the pictures that you see here. I freeze a considerable amount of both of those berries for the winter. Try to have enough for my winter, for baking, for adding blueberries into my oatmeal every morning, because they're just so good and healthy, and just kind of easy to freeze, and also easy to just pull out of the freezer, just maybe a handful to be getting ready for your breakfast or whatever. So when you're freezing berries, they really work the best if they are dry. You can give them a rinse before you freeze them, but make sure they get dried off a little bit before you start to put them into the freezer, because then they'll stick together. And most of the time when we freeze our berries, we want to freeze them in like a single layer so that we can then take the amount that we need for something we're making. If you're making muffins and your recipe calls for 1 cup of berries, you can easily put 1 cup of berries that are frozen into a measuring cup and know you have the amount you need. What you can do is freeze them flat on a cookie sheet, but one that has sides. And you could even put a little lining of wax paper on there first, or even clear wrap. Let them freeze flat, and then put them into sort of airtight freezer bags for the long haul. And they will freeze for a year. So, keeping them in a good deep freeze for that amount of time works very, very well. And they're about just so fresh as when you first purchased them. And all the nutrition is intact too. So keep that in mind. So if you can't find fresh berries in the wintertime, the markets now have so many wonderful combinations of berries in their frozen food section. So don't hesitate to use them frozen. The nutritional value is intact when the berries are frozen. So you can feel really confident about that. And when berries are dried, they tend to get a little bit sweeter in some ways. And, if you have to restrict the sugars in your diet, you may want to make sure that that's okay with your doctor. But your dried fruits are just wonderful to have on hand for adding into, I would just sprinkle them on top of a salad. I think they're great that way. Or again, in your breakfast, your oatmeal or something like that, or your cereal, in various kinds of recipes. So don't hesitate to use the dried ones. Your dried berries are going to cost you a little bit more. So if you get them fresh and freeze them, if you have space for that, that's a good way to go about it. So what about fruit juices and all these beautiful berries turning into a juice? Just keep this in mind, that juices tend to have calories in them, more than you would eat by just having a handful of berries or even a cup of berries, because they're going to be a little bit sweeter in the juice and they're a little bit more concentrated. So you're going to have, these are called liquid calories. So hey, calories are calories, whether you're eating them and chewing them or whether you're drinking them. So just keep that in mind. And when you're having a fruit juice, a whole fruit juice is the best. So read labels. If your product says it's 10% fruit juice, well, it's mostly water. But if your product says that it's 90% juice or 100% fruit juice, then you know you're getting the real deal. You're getting fruit. Just a real quick look at what organic means. And foods that are organic are certified organic, and you would see the symbol related with them in the market. So you know you're getting organic products. And basically, organic means that the soil quality is very good and it's a healthy soil. And there is limitations on the pesticides that are used in organic products. And so many of our products can be purchased as organic. So where can you get more information? Well, there's lots of places to get information. So do some searching, look for a reliable source for your information. If you go to Rutgers Cooperative Extension or our websites, you'll find links to reliable sources of information about all of these fruits and all the foods that we talk about. If you have any questions in particular, you can email us and we'll direct you to some good information.